Volume guarantee we'll be discussing in the afternoon in detail. So here the ventilator delivers a specific expired volume with the lowest possible pressure. And usually we use PSV with volume guarantee or SAMV with PS with volume guarantee. Assist control with volume guarantee is routinely used in many units as well. So do not use a volume guarantee. Here I put 40%, but the newer ventilators may compensate up to 50 to 60%. So beyond 60%, even the dragger doesn't compensate. So don't use volume guarantee more than 40 to 50% leak. And again, a tube change is not necessary if there is a leak. You can switch to non-volume guarantee mode and use a slightly higher pressure to offset. The leak means that you're not going to deliver the volume with the pressure you set that you expect to reach. Suppose you were reaching 22 with the leak, you may need 20 with the, if you correct the leak. So that what you see like the RAM cannula, we talk about the non-invasive ventilation. There is a leak around it and you lose, there is a circuit compensation as well. So you're increasing the set pressure to compensate. Similarly, don't change the tube just because you have a leak. If the baby is coping well, you can adjust the settings according to what the baby needs and manage with it. I mean, what goes into the lung is what is going to damage. What is going to leak out isn't going to damage the baby. Of course, monitor the tidal volume, monitor the baby's blood gas, and then take a call. So in volume guarantee, the preset parameters will deliver the volume. In the non-volume guarantee, you may get excessive tidal volume, excessive pressure unnecessarily, especially after surfactant. The complaints of the lung changes quickly. So with volume guarantee, the ventilator is analyzing the volume and the pressure is adjusted after 1 or 2 breaths. The lag depends on the ventilator. So in terms of outcome measures in relation to the mode of ventilation, I mean, the studies are difficult to assess due to various parameters. You can look at short-term measures like reduced work of breathing, better synchrony, and shorter duration of ventilation, quicker weaning, and long-term measures like death BPD or the combined outcome. And it's difficult to compare because different modalities are used, different ventilators, and of course there is always a variability between clinicians. Not all of us ventilate the same. What I do may not be the same as Dr. Karthik does, but both are correct. So it doesn't mean, as long as your understanding is okay and you're titrating to the disease physiology, there is no absolute right or wrong. So you have to be flexible with it. If someone doesn't like SAMV in your unit, we don't need to fight that I will use SAMV. So we can always adjust for that. And BPD is multifactorial, and the impact on long-term outcome like BPD is hard to establish. So I told you about synchronization doesn't show a benefit on BPD, but doesn't mean it's not effective. It just means that study cannot show that because of the multifactorial nature. So there is enough evidence for volume targeted ventilation though, and the use of volume targeted ventilation reduces pneumothorax, days on ventilation, risk of hypocarbia, and also the combined outcome of PVL and IVH. So volume guarantee is definitely the mode to go use as a first line, but it's not a one size fits all. You have to understand and titrate. In some babies, you may need to change. Suppose 10% of the babies don't respond well, you may need to change it. It doesn't mean you are wrong if you don't use volume guarantee in certain babies, but you justify why you're doing that. And finally, NAVA, it's relatively new and available in MCQ ventilators. It's well studied now, but unfortunately, because it's limited by the ventilator, not as much research evidence is coming up. And even within units that have the MCQ, not everyone uses NAVA. So I went to Toledo, the unit, Dr. Howard Stein's unit, to review this because we had a MCQ ventilator in my previous place. Even in his unit, some colleagues are not using NAVA.
Which place is this?
Toledo.
Toledo. Where in the US?
US, Miami.
The basic
Chicago.
limitation of NAVA is the
Catheter
cost is very expensive.
Very expensive.
$350 approximately.
Yeah.
So that's something.
So the catheter also, you need education to insert it to the right depth. It's a oro-nasogastric tube with the electric sensors at the bottom. One sensor is at the esophageal level, one below the diaphragm, one above, one below. And you have to position it correctly. You have the readings. They teach you how to do it. And displacement of the tube will affect the performance as well.